example, the Intake Release Center, if you don't know which building that is part of the Central Jail Complex. It's opened in 1988. It's now we're 30 years old. Because of the impacts of mental health, or those being brought to me with mental health challenges, we are redesignated entire facility. 3 modules, those are modules of 192 inmates each, are being reclassified and redesigned into mental health capable housing. We have LPS beds for men going from 5 to 30 beds. We were just opened the 15 LPS beds for women within the Intake Release Center. We have ADA compliant restrooms, ADA compliant cells in each sector, which means we can accommodate all different types of classification levels and install security fencing on all the upper tiers. If you look on this slide, the photograph that you can see on the upper area, there has been a security fence that has been added. That was not there when the building was designed. It was just bars. And we had people that would not routinely, but occasionally try to jump or try to hang themselves from those. So now with the security fencing that's up there, you can't access the other side of that wall. And I think that was a good move. When I mentioned the 512 beds that are opening at Music Facility, I made the comment that one of the opportunities we had in getting the award, going from award to actually groundbreaking, we redesigned that facility to make sure that it was mental health compliant, meaning all those sectors will be built in this way, so we don't have to go back later and retroactively add them in, which is much more expensive than just putting them in the design. Next slide, please. Staffing that we have added, every mental health location within the jail has increased staffing, and it's much more expensive to actually staff for these type of housing requirements. I have a naloxone program. If you're not familiar with what naloxone is an opioid antagonist. It's like Narcan, but it's a nasal spray. And because of SB 1022, state prison realignment that happened in 2011, in the first 2 years post SB 1022, my narcotics trafficking into the jails went up 300% in 2 years. There's a criminal element that exists and criminal enterprise that exists in places of incarceration like county jails and the state prison system. And there are ways people take to traffic in narcotics. And knowing several years ago in 2015 how the drug trends were changing in California because of drugs like fentanyl, which is a opioid that's is a synthetic opioid actually, 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin. We put in place an naloxone program long before we even saw fentanyl within our jails. And because of that, we've had numerous overdose saves within our jails because people get access to naloxone on a regular basis. We're trying intervention strategies through, we have body scanners now at points of ingress into the jail. We have narcotics detection canines. We have ways, I won't go into all of them, but finding these types of drugs, and have interceded a lot of them before they make it in. Coincidentally, when we locked our jails down because of COVID-19 back in March, April, May, June, it may shock you that we had no overdoses because guess what was not happening? Trafficking of narcotics into the jails. When people go to and from court, get visits, official visits, get mail, these other things, that's how narcotics come into the jail. We have a very robust suicide prevention program. We have one of the lowest suicide rates of major jails within the nation. I mentioned the CIT training that we are undergoing as well. Trauma-informed care, I think, is really key to our strategy as well as recognizing the presence of trauma and how to intervene and get appropriate services to individuals like that. De-escalation is a huge undertaking for law enforcement in both not only the jails, but also our patrol training to make sure we have appropriate de-escalation and communication techniques. I will tell you that de-escalation only works when the other party de-escalates with us. It's not a panacea to say that it's always going to work, but it is one of our strategies to get people to get them without force voluntarily into custody or compliance, whatever is more appropriate. And we obviously don't want to re-traumatize people. Next slide, please. And I mentioned the SUD, the step-down units, the 100 to 120 that will be in medically supervised step-down units. And we use MAT, which is medicine-assisted